Welcome to Builds with Blocks, a show centered around the micro action figures and brick-based construction sets of the Halo universe. I'm your host, Gabe Clem, and I'm joined by Colin Perkins.
How's it going?
Matt Salvatore.
Ahoy, ahoy.
And Tom Fishenden. There we go. In this episode, the team and I will be discussing the various Halo Reach-themed Mega Construx sets released over the last few years in an attempt to come up with what we believe are the top 10 best Halo Reach sets. This list was compiled to the best of our ability, however, you may find that one or two sets didn't make the cut. These sets were specified not only by release date, but more so the main builds and contents of the set, so blind series packs and certain heroes figures will not be included.
No.
As unfortunate as that is, I wish
Gabe.
it were.
Gabe,
We
I just gotta
agreed
tell
previously.
you that you sound like those awesome military briefing guys before you go on on a mission. Just like, resources are limited.
Bravo 6?
I don't know. We got calm on Bravo 6.
Right.
So, well done. You brought
He's
it
going to
back.
do that the whole episode, too. It's going to be great.
Before we talk about the Mega Construx sets itself, let's discuss Halo Reach as a game. What do we all think? When did we all play Halo Reach?
Yesterday.
Did you?
Well, I mean for the
Yeah.
first time.
Oh, for the first time.
Oh, alright, I won't tell my story then. Fine.
I want to know yesterday's story. Tell me.
Yeah,
tell me
what'd you do?
yesterday's story.
Yeah, I kind of
I
hear it.
actually, my friend I went to school with, who has had a PlayStation 4 for the past 7 years, bought an Xbox One Series X, so we played Halo for the first time in 7 years.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
It was
awesome.
really
Awesome.
fun.
It just
Yeah,
happened to be
nice.
7, which is 343's favorite number, or I guess Bungie's favorite number. But yeah, I love that. Great tie-in.
Yeah.
There you go.
It was very good.
I came into Halo late in the game, right? So
Same.
I didn't play Reach until after. I think it was after Halo 4 is when I first played Halo.
Same.
Reach.
Same.
I bet
Yeah.
that was a change.
Yeah, and it was fine, but I was I forget how I tackled all of the campaigns right away. But I played a little Halo 4, messed that around, and then I think I went back and played all of the campaigns afterwards. So yeah, I was never part of the zeitgeist of Halo Reach and all the multiplayer stuff. So I messed around with it, but it's never felt nostalgic to me. And personally, that campaign, after reading the books, that campaign rubbed me the wrong way, and because it wasn't consistent with the books, and so that hurt me a little bit. And I know a lot of other people feel that same way. And I almost stopped being a part of the franchise because of the way the inconsistencies between the book and the game. And I was like, because I was just starting to get into Halo, and I was like, this is awesome. Like, it's got this huge universe and all these other, extended lore, and it all ties together. Yeah. And then it's like, well, wait a minute. It doesn't tie together, though.
Hashtag not my Halo Reach.
As cleanly as it could have. So anyway, I enjoyed the game. It's fun to go back and play the campaign a little bit. I'll mess around with multiplayer. It's, it's a great game. Gameplay wise, if you listen to Mission Debrief, it's one of my favorite from a gameplay standpoint in the series, and it is high on my list of the overall games. But there's some drawbacks here and there.
I think.
What about you, Matt?
I didn't start. Yeah, actually, like Colin, I didn't play Reach until way after Halo 4. So
Wow.
it's weird to step back into it. The difference is, I think I was really big into Halo when the marketing for Halo Reach was going on, and so I was kind of in it, especially with the just the kind of like all the Halo posters and everything, and the trailers and everything like that. So I was big into the marketing, but I never played the game until after, because I didn't own an Xbox 360 for ages. I usually just bum one up, play with my friends. But so yeah, actually after Halo, there's a lot to say about the story. I kind of I agree with Colin that it was kind of, because I read Fall of Reach, and so going through the game, I kept waiting for certain events in the book to happen, and just kind of like it never happening. Just kind of
Right.
It didn't
need to happen, but
right.
It
It didn't change the story that the game was trying to tell. I think it's just my what I thought was going to happen influenced what the game was trying to tell me. So it's kind of like that same story, different version, all are true kind of deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. I mean, I personally love Halo Reach. I think it's got a lot to offer.
Yeah. It's interesting hearing from people who have actually read the books how that kind of warped your perception of it. Because for me, I really love Reach's campaign purely because I think it shows the consequences of the Human Covenant War in a much more guttural way than any other game does.
Yeah.
So whereas in any other Halo game, you're kind of on the offensive after being beaten back for so long. You know, combat evolves the start of that and then it slowly progresses upwards. In this game, it's very much a case of you start on the offensive, you have that grandiose sequence in Tip of the Spear with all of the UNSC vehicles coming in, and then from there you're gradually torn down until it is literally just you as a lone wolf at the end. So I think it does a really good job. I think, if you've not played it by now, what the hell are you doing? Why are you listening to this podcast?
There's people that have just come into Halo. So
I think the one of the things I appreciate most about Reach is that kind of depressive feeling that you are eventually going to lose this. And so I like that grittier feel of, people can get snatched from you like that, and it's war. And that's Well, I mean,
stop spoiling the entire campaign.
we all know how the community feels about what happened with Kat and everything like that, but just the overall, like, I felt like with Reach, though, the only thing I kind of was missing was I never really felt like this was an invasion like the books or the way Lord Hood described it. You know, when Hood was in Halo 2 and he's like, the fleet that destroyed Reach was 50 times like that. I'm like, I wanted to see that giant fleet, and I never saw that. So I think what Reach needed is it needed a space battle, but it needed... like
it had a space battle.
Well, I think a cruiser battle.
Yeah.
Where you are on like a cruiser and you're just looking out the port window and you're just seeing the ships get shellacked.
Overwhelming amount.
You just see Reach's orbital defenses just get click-clacked, and you never see that at all. And
they tried to do that on the ground, and if it's one of the first couple missions where, remember, it's like all the warthogs are going across the plains, and then all of the Covenant, Tip of the Spear, So they tried to do that, but I felt like that cutscene where it was cool. If you think about it, like in what world does that actually make sense?
Oh, on like
that's like a Civil War tactic, right? Like, let's just ram everybody at each other, you know? Like that doesn't make, you know. So anyway, issues aside, they tried to show that, but it didn't show how big and how far behind the UNSC really was, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I guess as a military tactic, I guess it could work if you were using like a blitzkrieg tactic where you're rushing the enemy so they can't set up defenses. Sure. So say the Covenant's landing in, you want to hit them while they're landing. So I think it's a push. It's not, obviously it didn't work out too well for them, but it could. It's not military. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to charge into something when everybody's got guns.
Yeah. They do try and like walk around the idea of it not being such a big invasion, because it's not Tip of the Spear, the one after Long Night of Solace, when you're on the supercarrier, once it, again, spoilers, once it gets destroyed, they do say that that's what then triggers the larger Covenant invasion, because it like alerts them all, and then that begins.
Well, if you destroy a supercarrier, that's probably going to alert somebody.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like that was them kind of showing, okay, this is the very start of it, and then here's what's happening as a result of that.
I think that part where they destroy the supercarrier and then it just shows all the Covenant cruisers jumping in, I think that kind of really illustrates that, oh my gosh, we just expended all of this effort just to take out one. And that's what I needed more of, was I needed more that of the Covenant coming in and just laying waste to humanity. And I think it was there. It just needed a little bit more. I also want to say, though, it took Chief only one cutscene to take out a Covenant supercarrier, and it took Noble Team an entire mission and a Spartan to do it. So that just goes to show you why the Master Chiefs the savage that he
Let's
is.
talk a
But
little
George isn't dead.
before we dwell too much on the gameplay and stuff like that. Let's talk about the aesthetic, because I feel like that ties in a little bit more
Oh, yeah.
with what
Yeah.
we're going to talk about, right?
Because I've
Best
been
Halo
waiting
game.
to say, Halo Reach. Obviously, everybody. Well, I say everybody. Most of the community loves the armor system, the customization system with the shoulders, chest, helmet attachments, everything.
Yep.
And Halo 3, Halo 3 was good. Then you got to Reach and you were like, oh my god, they did more? What? I can change my wrists?
Right.
I like how... I like how militaristic it is in like a modern way. Like, because future militaristic, you're like, okay, cool armor, I guess, nice, but like all of the Reach armors, even the trooper, you're always fighting alongside just troopers, just humans.
Yeah.
But also all the Reach armors, you've got like pouches and tactical gear and flashlights and antennas and all kinds of stuff all over you. Also like that you don't look polished. Like half the time your Spartans got like wear on the bottom of their legs, on their thighs, on their shoulders. Like everything looks like you've actually been fighting for your life for weeks on end.
Yeah, Cat's missing a hand.
Cat's missing a freaking arm. Yeah.
Gabe, I love you so much for everything that you've just said, because I literally feel like you've just got inside my brain.
Yeah. No, that's why like as a customizer, my favorite figures to work on are Reach, because there's something about them that just feels so real.
Yeah.
Like obviously, okay, huge dude in a suit of armor, but like even so, they feel more in touch with. They feel more human. Yeah. Probably than the games beforehand or after, in my opinion, really. That's why I like Noble Team so much.
So this is a dumb question that I should probably know, but I don't care as much about the armors personally. I'm more like story and gameplay stuff. Like I'm less on the art, which I appreciate it. So this is something I just never dug into before. When you call it a Reach armor, is that because it's the first time it appeared in the series? Or is it because it was modified for that game? What makes it a Reach armor versus a Halo 3 armor?
The style of the armor. Reach armors are all permutations of the base Mark 5B, just like how in Halo 3 all armors for the UNSC are permutations of the Mark 6. They just have attachments on top of them. But the Reach armors have a very specific... I don't know. I feel like when you look at something, you can be like, "Oh yeah, it's Halo Reach." Like that's a Reach armor because also there are.
But that's your world. Like
ones.
You live in that, right? So that makes sense. Like you would be able to glance at it and like, "Oh yeah, Reach." Obviously. Yeah. But for a guy like me that doesn't like just pay as much attention,
they're all.
What's
there's just
they're more rugged.
Well, for one, like the armor pieces that are in Reach aren't in any other games. Except, maybe you get to Halo 5 where they do the Reach DLC editions, but excluding that, the armors in Reach aren't in any other games. There was a lot of
shade with that. Gabe.
There's Mark 6, which is like Halo 3, Halo 2 Chief helmet, but it's been updated, I guess. But
when you look at like Halo 5, like there's so many options on armor, right? Yeah. But they've carried armors forward. They created new ones for Halo 5, but then they've also carried them forward, right? So
most of the armors in Halo 5 are Halo 4. Any Halo Reach armors that have been added were just like DLCs.
Gotcha.
But I don't know. It's just Reach armor has a very specific, has a really specific style that doesn't appear in any of the other games going forward or backward. I
would say Reach has a very unique style compared to other games. You can see it kind of with the Marines and with the Spartans. Is that it feels. In previous Halo games, there was like Space Marines. And then in this one, it's Marines in space. So I felt like Reach took more of a hardcore military approach to how it came with the design. Whereas when you look at something like Halo 4, where they're wearing their hockey pads, it really kind of shifts. So I think Reach really kind of dug into that grittier Marine, this is a military instead of a space force.
Yep. Yeah. Which I think is a Bungie hallmark, right? Like that's the art style that they wanted from their Halo games, and I feel like they were able to finally manifest that in Halo Reach.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I think that's why
think-
it's my favorite design aesthetic, is that's that gritty military feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was actually watching a video on the Marines in particular the other day, because for
The
me,
army
I kind of...
troopers.
Yeah, the army... Well, Gabe,
Oh,
no.
boy.
Because Reach did something really cool, where there are army troopers, but also Marines. And I
there's
love
Navy,
the
there's
fact
army
that they made
troopers.
that distinction, and there's different soldiers with different BDUs.
Oh, that's
and I
awesome.
think that Marine design at the end on the mission The Pillar of Autumn, where you've got those guys with the fully enclosed helmets,
The military
that's just
police
always
style.
made so much more sense to me, because they're
Mm-hmm.
soldiers who are on board a spaceship. If that gets boarded and it gets breached, if they've just got a ballistic helmet, it's not going to do much good. So having that kind of full face visor just makes so much more sense.
Same for Long Night of Solace. When you go on the Covenant Corvette,
Yeah.
there's like
They're like pilots, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, without a pressurized suit, it's not going to do much good anyway. But yeah, I get I get the
Yeah.
I get the idea of having it an enclosed, especially in a ship that might cut oxygen to a specific area because of life support. Just not like, obviously if they're getting sucked out into space, you're toasted. But if like an area loses life support, you have some carrying capacity in your suit, perhaps. So I appreciate that. I think a lot of detail and a lot of care was put into the Marines, and I'm a big Marine guy. Like, I always try to keep them alive. It's, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I'm not like Kristen. I savagely murder them. I think when it connects to the Mega Construct sets, and especially with the new Marines that they have with Infinite, I think that's why I appreciate the platoon pack so much, and obviously the new one for Marines, because in my opinion it captures that Reach vibe feel so perfectly, is that these Marines are actually military individuals.
Yeah. Cool.
So
Honestly, like the whole... I don't want to gush about it too much, because obviously we're here to talk about sets, not art style, but tying into the Mega Constructs, the fact that, like, the Marine alone, there's like 30 different versions. There's versions with the BDU in the photo behind me, and then they'll have green armor instead of brown armor, and that just randomly appears in some missions. So they're like prime customization material to do like a gear pack with.
Yes, sir.
There's just so much you could do with them. I mean, there's balaclavas as well, which is cool, and we've never seen that again, I don't think.
So, what's everybody's favorite member of Noble Team?
George.
George?
Hands down, George.
It's hard to argue. I mean, George is just so cool, right? He's the big boy.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
he's yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Colin, you going with George?
I'm just trying to think of who else is out there. June's cool. And then Emil's mask is rad, right? Like,
I think
that's pretty cool.
Okay, Emil's my boy. He's
And
my
he has a
favorite.
kukri.
Yeah.
And then,
Emil's my
yeah.
man. Yeah.
Cat's
Emil's
tough
savage.
because I don't know. And then I don't like Carter. Well, she's like the technical person, and she doesn't really. There's not a whole lot. I mean, she has obviously comes up with a lot of the plans, right? Remember she does that scene where she draws in the mud, and that's pretty cool. But she
You
doesn't
never
give
get
a
to
lot
see
of
that
love.
drawing.
What's that? Yeah, you never
So I
do.
never get to see that drawing.
Yeah.
Some of the best.
And
memes
Carter,
come
I've
from
never
that.
been into Carter, so it's probably between Emil and George for me.
I actually think. I actually kind of like Carter. I'll say Emil. I really like a Noble Six, just as like a blank slate kind of character. I like him. I think his armor's cool. Like his base armor is pretty savage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'd say June is probably my least favorite, just because I don't feel like you ever really. I mean, you get to spend that long night of solace with him, but but I mean, in my opinion, he's just the sniper, and nothing. There's no personality with him. He's very, like George has got the heart, Carter's got the command, Kat's got the ideas, Emil's got the sass. Noble Six has got the perky, let's do it attitude sometimes, and then June's like, I shot it.
I mean, that is a sniper, though. My dad,
no, for sure,
was a recruit sniper in the Marine Corps. But I mean, in this, I can understand, like, you don't really get to experience his personality that much. I mean, even on
Well, they're Spartans. They don't really have personalities.
on what's his mission?
Nightfall.
Nightfall. Yeah, even on Nightfall, like you have a whole mission with him.
Yesterday.
You have a whole mission with him, and he's just silent half
He's
the
just
time.
kind of whispering.
Unless he's going, he's over there, and he's like shooting something. Like there's no dialogue. There's no getting to know what June is until after the game. You got to read the book, and then it turns. Well, anyway. I
think one of the cool things
June's the only guy still around.
I think the cool thing about the Noble, yeah, I know, right? The cool thing about Noble Team is the different voice actors that they have. I love that each one has a different kind of accent, so you could really understand that these guys came from all over the place. Like I think the gentleman who plays Noble 6, the male voice, he's Hispanic. Cat is Israeli. I think.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think just
a diverse
George is Hungarian.
Yeah, and they all have these really kind of unique accents, so you know who's talking. So I think that's especially when you have so many characters talking to you stuff. It's good to have distinctions between which one's which, you know. So I appreciate that. I think they did a good job with that.
That makes sense with Spartan 3s too, right? Because they weren't. I'm forgetting. Were they grown up as little kids? Quite the same?
No, they were.
They were teenagers, I think.
They signed up after I think Jericho 7 got destroyed, right? Weren't they from Jericho 7?
So they would have had like established. That's always the weird thing. As an aside, that like, why does Kelly have an accent? That doesn't make sense.
It makes
leave the Brits alone.
Right? It makes more sense with the Spartan 2s because they were snatched from all over the galaxy. It would make more sense if Spartan 3s sounded similar because they came from the same kind of...
No, sorry, this is an aside, you can cut this, but I'm saying Spartan 2s, they grew up together at the age of 6.
Oh, okay.
And so they should all talk the same.
They've been all
together since that age.
They should all sound like Halsey. Well, she spent more time with Halsey.
Humans aren't born with an accent.
Can we appreciate that you all missed the best member of Noble Team, which is obviously Colonel Holland?
Still can't believe Holland said yes to this.
I might make that my ringtone.
All right,
well,
let's talk sets.
Should we move on to the sets?
Yeah.
Yeah, just like last time for the top 10 Halo Wars sets video, the same rules apply. Each of us will pick our top 5 sets from the list of 27. The top 3 sets from the list of 27, leaving 7 of the sets behind. Each of our picks will also include any and all iterations if they exist, such as if somebody picks the Falcon, they get all 3 versions of the Falcon. So let's start with Matt. What's your first pick?
Oh, I got to go first.
Yeah.
Well, I'm taking the best set. Rocket Hog versus AA Gun. Hands down.
Is it?
Oh.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk.
We'll talk. Well, that's the best set, though.
Tom,
okay.
What's yours?
So last time, let's see. So this is the second time we've done this, right? Third time. Because we did 4 in the Halo 4. So this is number
Halo 4
3.
doesn't count, though.
What? Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, because the best Halo 4 set is actually Cauldron Clash.
Oh boy.
Let's not open that.
So I've been going iconic, and I feel like I'm not going to go iconic as much this time because there are some little quirky ones that I like, and I'll start with one of my favorite quirky ones: is Containment Outpost.
Ooh, I always wanted that one.
That little quirky design. Plus, it's got my Cyclops in it.
I like the Cyclops. I also like that sand base plate. I wish they sold that. Just like that sand.
That one.
Yeah, I was like, just sell me a bunch of those, and I will buy them in a bulk.
For real, yeah. Tom?
Well, I did have something witty to say, but I've forgotten it. It's a Flood Siege.
Flood Siege, dude.
There was something there, but it's gone.
You got to explain.
Flood Siege.
Yeah, so why is Flood Siege on this list? Because there's no Flood and Reach.
So Flood Siege,
there's a secret door that you can open.
Flood Siege is the Mac Cannon, and it's the whole Mac Cannon setup from Halo Reach. We're kind of like in the description, we're kind of not basing it just because of figure choice. So there's a few of these where you might be like, but if you think about it, the main build is Halo Reach. Flood Siege, I got that for my 12th birthday, and it was the coolest thing I had ever seen in my life.
I should have bought it when I had a chance.
It's a cool set.
I really wish I bought it. Yeah.
Little mongoose.
My first pick, the true best set ever. Well, we'll get there. Saber Gantry. The countdown set.
Oh, countdown.
Countdown. Ooh.
Yeah. A Saber launch gantry.
You mean the set that was dismissed by 3 administrations as preposterous rumor?
That was quite a good impression.
That was actually good. I don't even think I could recite that. That was all right. Well.
Hey man, that's
Which
Okay.
on you
I'm-
is
What's,
different,
I'm not
because
just a pretty face,
certainly
guys.
Never remember.
What's your next pick, Matt?
Oh, I got to go with probably the most iconic vehicle of Halo Reach, and we'll go with the Falcon.
True.
Falcon.
True,
And there's
true,
3 versions. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Flood
Yeah.
Hunter, green and blue.
I only have the original one that came with the cat design armor without the arm. So that one right there would be the one I got. It's got some great stuff. It's got one major drawback that will forever hinder this set for all of eternity. Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about it in the list. Colin, what's your second pick?
I kind of want to go. Well, so I'll challenge your most iconic, best vehicle, and I'll go with the Revenant.
Ooh.
That thing's rad.
Oh,
See, that's a savage.
Like
that's a
that
savage
thing,
set.
you hop in that thing and you feel pretty. It's like a combination of a ghost and a wraith, right? It's like the middle in between.
It's
pretty
the
cool.
Covenant's sexiest vehicle. It is.
Yeah, and the set's cool too. So
Yeah.
it's got like that maroon type color that they have going on in a lot of the.
And it comes with a bubble
Covenant.
shield.
And the first time we got the Covenant barriers.
Yep.
What about
And that
you, Tom?
sick ultra.
What's your
Well, I
second
feel
pick?
like the word iconic is getting thrown around a lot. So
you
instead
can
of
use it.
iconic, I'm going to go with an epic set.
Oh.
So I am going to go with the Covey Drone Outbreak.
Ooh.
Good
And
set.
this set, I just remember there was a massive buzz about it back in the day because it has a sticker of the Golden Warthog from Halo 2.
Oh boy.
But it's a mega version of it, and everyone was like,
that's
"Oh, they're
right.
gonna make it one day," and then it never got made.
People were
right.
fuming about that.
Yeah.
Someone made a really cool custom. They like spray painted an entire Warthog. gold.
Yeah.
Someone
Did they-
jot that down. If we ever get to talk to Kevin again, we'll ask him.
Right. Whatever happened?
And that was our first George, right?
Yes,
First official.
non-official version.
No, our first
Yeah.
George was in the shade. The spade.
No. First
Yeah.
official George was.
Oh,
in
as
the
like a
Drone
named
Outbreak.
character. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The other one was exact armor.
The other one is just
Yeah.
named Grenadier Spartan.
Yeah, but
Gotcha.
Also, the
it's
first time
George.
getting a JFO, I believe,
Yes.
because it came in this and the Foxtrot packs at the same time.
Maybe. I'll have to do
Back
some.
me up, Gabe. Damn it, back me up.
We'll have to do some research.
I'll-
Speaking of the Spade, though, my second pick is the Spade versus Skirmisher set.
Ooh.
Okay.
And the other Spades, but specifically my top out of those 3 is Spade versus Skirmisher. So that's
I
my
remember-
second choice.
I
So
remember-
you're gonna sell me on the spade because it's always a weird one. I've gotten
Yeah.
a couple in some lots. I've never built one from scratch, and it's always been a little floppy.
So
We'll try. Yeah. I'll try to defend my boy.
I
Sell
got-
me on the floppy.
I got the spade because of the Grenadier figure that it's George. But I got that, and then I'm like, what is this safari vehicle? I'm like, what is
Well,
going
and when I got it in the lot, I'm like, what is this? It's a Halo thing. What is it? Because I completely forgot. It's in the first level, right? And that's is that it, or does it show up later?
It's
on?
all
I forget.
for
first
Outreach.
level. It's in. It's
Tip
on
of the spear.
Tip of the spear.
Okay.
It's in. I think it's even on Pillar of Autumn.
Yeah.
Drivable in all of those spots.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
You get-
So, but it wasn't memorable for me as I was playing through Reach outside, and I had to think about it. It's like, oh, that's the one from the beginning of the game. Okay. So anyway, I want to hear your thoughts on that. Skirmishers are cool though, like skirmishers.
Yeah.
That's part of Reach.
Skirmishers are
I'm not even gonna attempt to say them. I'm just gonna say the Jackal
Yeah.
variant.
Yeah.
What's Matt? Last
Oh,
pick.
Colin stole the Revenant from me, so let's see.
Wow. It's all of our list. It's all of our list together.
Yeah,
It's a
I'm glad.
big
I'm glad
joint
it
list.
deserves to be on there. It deserves to be on there.
All right, so I got an ally. That's good.
Oh yeah, it's a good set. Shoot.
Forward unto dawn.
Yeah, Forward Unto Dawn. You know the sword base? That's a good one. Defensive sword base.
Oh,
You
the
know,
Oni sword base set.
Do you want the figure set or something?
yeah, that one's good.
Yeah.
But I feel like because I picked the AA turret with the Rocket Hog, I gotta go with EVA's Last Stand. I think the being able to swap that with that pretty awesome EVA, which I gave away, unfortunately. But that was
You gave away the figure?
Yeah, I gave away a figure.
What's her name?
I knew that was coming from last episode. Oh my god!
I'm just trying to get to know Matt a little more. That's it.
No, actually, I gave it away to a friend of mine. His son was starting collecting Mega Construx sets, and when I was younger, I had an older friend who gave me a bunch of Legos just for the hell of it.
Nice.
And so I gave him a bunch of other sets, so I paid it forward.
Cool.
So
Nice.
that's
Wholesome.
I mean, now I wish I didn't have paid the EVA forward, but it's a good set. I mean, obviously it's kind of weird that they given you a broken Warthog.
Yeah.
I like the platforms that come with it.
Unique.
It is, and the hunters are nice.
Oh.
And
A sealed version is oddly expensive. Like, I'm sure you can find cheaper ones, but like when I was starting to collect, I was like, why is this one?
It was
the two hunters.
It was a great set to get hunters, but it's also from our Warthog show way back when. We should go check it out. It is one of the first Warthogs to incorporate the spinning turret with the new turret design. So lots to that. So I think I bought it with the idea of taking that and putting it on a Warthog from the AA gun.
Isn't it? It's designed for that one, right? The AA gun. One?
Yep, it's swappable. I never actually did the swap, but because I think the Rocket Hog is a better, darker military.
What about you,
grade.
Colin? What's your last pick?
Last one. We're kind of getting down there a little bit. I mean, there's not. I feel like is there as many Reach sets as the other games?
No,
it's slimmer pickings in Reach, right?
It's less buildable sets and more figure stuff.
More figure stuff.
I hope they go
Lots
back
of
and
Reach
revisit
figures,
it.
but there's not as many Reach vehicles.
Yeah. Well, let's do. Go ahead.
I wanted to drop an interesting fact. There was at one point in time going to be a build for the Falcon turret, which is the AA gun that appears on tip of the spear and defends sword base. It was going to come with the Revenant, but that got cancelled, and they just released the Revenant with the bubble shield instead.
I would love a Halo Reach set of that Covenant cloaking tower that's cloaking the super carrier.
Yes.
That portal thingamabob.
That would be nuts.
Yeah.
The Spire.
Portal.
The Spire,
Link
yep.
to what?
Yeah. Dude, you should just talk like that through the whole episode.
I'm on board.
I love that
so,
part, though.
Deal with it.
So speaking of, I believe we were speaking of figures. So let's do a figure pack, which I don't typically throw into these lists, but we'll do it. I think the Sword-Based Invasion set is pretty cool.
Oh man, Colin's got my back on this episode.
Yeah, we got some, we got a little army here.
Gabe,
So
what's going on
I like the skirmishers. I like coloring on the skirmishers. Is it the first super articulated skirmisher?
Yes.
So that's cool.
Yep.
It's got that red color, which is
Those
kinda
guys are
tying
pretty
with
good.
the banished. So not that everything has to be red for banished. And then the drawback is the Spartan. The colors of the Spartans are a little bit not the best. It's the tie-in, I think, with that big suit, right? That big mech suit that we got. And it's similar, in one of the waves right around there. So, but anyway, I think it's cool. The skirmishers are really cool in that. So let's get them in there.
Yeah. Tom, what about you?
I am going to go for
one.
Outland Skirmish because contextually, before we knew that super articulation was a thing, this was hands down the best way to army build some accurate Covenant from Halo Reach.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's also a highly sought after set, right? Like sealed, if you can find one of those sealed. It's
yeah.
Yeah.
There's
wish I
$200
bought it.
on eBay.
Is that right? Yeah.
Gee.
And you can find the figures separately.
Yeah.
But just how well they've been taken care of is the other question.
My last choice.
Yes.
I like the hand action.
So I've got my last choice. I've got Saber. I got Spade. I feel like I need Coveys.
Okay.
I have always felt like the Covenant has been lackluster. Like, they don't get nearly enough attention, and I hate that. So I'm choosing Seraph.
Oh,
Yeah.
good
You
shout.
should choose
Because
Yeah.
Oh, I should have.
it's the freaking Seraph. That's
How did I miss
well,
that?
for one, that's one of the biggest Covenant vehicles they've ever released. I mean,
Yeah.
they've got Phantom, Scarab,
Spirit.
Seraph, Spirit.
And that's
probably top
unique. Also look up, maybe I can during the episode, but Seraph was unique for Reach. Like,
Yeah.
as far as I know. I
Well,
don't think
it's
it
in
was.
Halo 2, and it's also
it's a
makes a
heretic
cutscene.
vehicle.
It makes a cutscene appearance in Halo 3.
Oh, it does. Okay, well,
I like
So they
how
had
this-
it in mind, and they just finally put it into the
Right.
game proper.
I like
Okay.
how the Seraph carries on the tradition of having that naming convention of Covenant vehicles, like a
Ghost.
a ghost,
The
or like
spirit,
the
the
spirit
Wraith.
world. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's all over the media. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
I love that.
And it
It's a
came
cool
with
name.
the Elite General, didn't it?
Came with an Elite General and an Elite Ultra.
Okay,
Yeah.
while we're talking about figures for a second, the best figure of all Halo Reach sets that we've discussed comes
Oh, listen to
in.
this.
It comes in the Revenant set, the Ultra Elite, the white one.
Yeah.
With the,
Okay.
that,
It's got
that-
some nice
That's
paint, yeah.
that's
I
the
thought
best
you were going to
figure.
say something foolish, but that's actually that's
You mean like a blue Elite with a weapons crate?
yeah. Like that's
No, that's-
I can
I'm
dig
out,
that.
bye.
I can dig that.
That's hands down my favorite figure ever.
So taking it back to the Seraph really quick, I know scale's a weird thing in Mega, but how do you feel like it portrays the scale of that thing? Like, it feels like it should have been maybe a little bit bigger. Like, it's hard to
it
tell how
sh-
big it is in game, right? 'Cause
It
they're
should have been
flying
a
around.
little bigger, but for the scale they're working on, it's actually really close
Okay.
because it is a one-manned vehicle. There's no it's not a spaceship. You're not supposed to walk around
Gotcha.
inside. You get in the cockpit and you fly off, you drive. Yep, see?
And I think
there you go.
the art of it throws me off because, like, it's lit up. You know, it's got like these little lights, and you'd almost think, oh, maybe that's like a little window that you could look out of.
Yeah.
But no,
No,
it's
that's
it's just lighting.
Yeah, it's
on
just
the
lights.
side.
What I think is interesting is that in game actually the whole ship bends. It is segmented, and
Oh,
the
really?
tails kind of bend like this.
Oh,
They can go up and down. They
Like
can go
a-
side
like
to
a
side.
fin.
too.
Yeah, the whole back is like
It's really
articulated,
cool.
because when you place it in Forge, it like bends in on itself as you drop
now
it.
is that a design feature that's incorporated into the set or no? I don't think-
Unfortunately, it is not. The whole ship
It's
is
off
just
the
a
list,
solid
yeah.
piece.
When I first saw the set, because I saw the set before I played the game, obviously, I thought that it flew the other way,
Oh, funny.
Oh,
Yeah.
like a Millennium Falcon.
or like like a Millennium Falcon. Yeah.
That's what it looks like. Is the
Yeah.
is the
Right, it's
Falcon?
back-
But
backwards Falcon.
if you look at the set, it makes more sense, especially in how the
Yeah,
Covenant
yeah, yeah.
designed their thing. I'll give a random shout out to the Orbital Banshee. I think that's a nice
Yes.
set too.
Absolutely. Another
like the
really
turret
unique
with that
Yeah,
one.
very nice
Yeah.
turret, and
And it was nice.
Go ahead.
It was nice just to get a Banshee that wasn't just a Banshee. Like now we have the different forms of the Banshee. You've got the regular one. You've got the orbital Banshee.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool that we just got like a different
Still
form.
need a heretic one.
Mm.
Kevin, hello.
Yeah, so Orbital Banshee, I would really love it if Mega made bigger. I know we have the Mac gun and that little turret, but like if we could have some UNSC big giant turrets, yes, because we have
Like the Halo Wars turrets.
exactly, yeah. We have the AA turret from the Covenant. We got the Brute turret from Infinite.
Yeah.
We just need a big gun. For
Just
the,
need a big gun.
a big gun. We need a weapon.
So in the UK, we don't allow those.
Right.
Oh, so boring.
All right, so that's that.
All
We're
right.
at 12 now, right?
So we've got our 12.
So we're gonna cut it down to
So list them off.
9.
List them off for the people.
No, we got to do
All right.
10, top 10.
So yeah, we're gonna have to lose 2, but that'll be all right. So Tom, your top picks were Drone Outbreak, Flood Siege, and Outland Skirmish, correct? All right. My top were Saber
Great for
Gantry, or
podcasting.
the Countdown, the Seraph in the Spade versus Skirmisher set. Colin, yours was the Attack on Sword Base, the Remind me.
Containment Outpost.
Containment Outpost, or Containment Outbreak.
And the
Is it Outpost? Outbreak.
Outpost.
And the
Revenant.
Outpost.
And the Revenant.
I grabbed
Revenant.
the Falcon,
You got Falcon.
A turret, and
A
EVA's
turret.
Last Stand.
Okay. Yeah, let
Nice.
me fill these in. EVA last.
All right, I'm just going to go off and say that the Rocket Hog versus the AA turret should be number 1. Just going to plant that flag right there.
Tell me why, because
I agree.
I've
Okay,
gotten
alright.
many partial AA guns, and
This
building
is
partial AA guns isn't the coolest.
okay. Right, it's not entirely game accurate, obviously, because the game has a complete encircled turret, right, and that's probably would have been cooler to have with the barriers. But I think that this set it has that dual capability that we were talking about earlier with like maybe perhaps the Locust and the Goshawk. But this set, maybe close to the Revenant and the Falcon, captures Reach in a set. It captures Reach in a bottle. And I think that's why, like, when I look at this set, it screams Halo Reach more than any of the other sets. Not only that,
That's a good
it's
argument.
probably one of the most, has probably the most playable features because you have an enemy versus an enemy. You also, so playability is a huge factor for me.
Here we go with playability.
Playability
Oh,
is
That's
huge, man. Hey, that's what you use for the Locust and the Goshawk debate. Playability.
Did I? All right, well.
So I think this set, it encapsulates Reach. It's extremely playable. The detail on this Rocket Hog it was, at the time, and I still think probably is, one of the best. I mean, look, you have
That's good.
all these, I mean, back, it was still the sticker days, but you had
Yeah.
this little its own piece. This gun is awesome. This special piece
Yeah.
is fantastic.
Yeah.
The only
And
thing,
it's only been reused like one other time on the Mammoth, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't
Twice.
think.
Blue Series
Well-
Rocket Hog. And
Oh
the
yeah,
Mammoth.
yeah.
I will say that this was before Mega really started to personalize the figures. A lot of it was just, like Grenadier
What they
Spartan.
had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
de facto George or something, or this is Cat or something like that. But
The aesthetic elite's nice though.
this set could have been so much better if you actually included members of Noble Team. Like, if you put members of Noble Team in this set, it might be my favorite set of all time. Like, in my opinion, the figures,
Wow.
the figures on the UNSC side let me down because I think it came with a yellow Hassop.
Hassop.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this guy, you guys know how I feel about yellow. But this set,
favorite.
this is it's my favorite. But this set is, I think it bottles Reach. It's awesome. It's playable. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's big.
So, do you know? Did this come out in 2012? Is that the year?
I
right around
think
there?
2011.
Okay. I'm
Yes.
just curious, like, why
Yeah.
they didn't include Reach official characters at that
They-
time. Were they not?
They
doing
didn't really
many
do them
officials?
back then.
they
Okay.
they
Yeah.
weren't
Like-
into that. Yeah.
They didn't do the first official chief until 2012 with the Forward Unto Dawn. But
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
even after that,
Which I've
official characters were very few and far between.
I've always wondered why they did that. Like, they detailed the weapons so nicely. You know, it wasn't like Lego where each clone blaster is the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But like they spent time in detailing the weapons. They took the time to make the armor. They could have just slapped a name on it and said, "This is George."
Yeah. Huh. I don't know.
It's such a
Yeah.
weird thing.
Question for
Couldn't
Kevin.
tell ya.
Yeah.
Someone jot
Can I
that down.
say? I want to say something shocking.
Oh boy.
Here we
I
go.
fully agree with everything Matt said.
Oh.
No, so do I. Yeah.
Welcome.
Really?
Yeah.
It's Tom, you go first.
I got this set before I played Halo Reach.
Same.
And I remember when I played Halo Reach, I had that moment where I just
Yeah.
went,
Oh,
holy
it's the
crap,
toy.
this
Yeah.
is my set.
Yeah.
And it just like it perfectly encapsulates it because even to the fact that in
Preach.
the game you never see both AA turrets in tip of the spear together. It's always one
Yeah.
that you're attacking with the hog. So it is literally that campaign
Yep.
moment to a T.
Mm-hmm.
And this, if I remember correctly, did it have a Covenant crate as well?
It did. It had a couple Covenant crates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a jump pack
Um,
brute.
And I think it was the
Yep.
first time it actually came with plasma grenades. Like the purple grenades.
I'm fairly sure.
Phantom came with grenades.
Oh, it might have been the first time I got it.
Yeah,
because I don't
like
remember
the first wave that had them in.
Oh yeah,
but yeah. You got 3 Covenant crates, which is a lot.
That
for
moment
a
you're
set
talking
like
about,
this.
though, Tom.
Get
that
some
moment
little terrain pieces.
That you're talking about, where you're actually in the game and you're like, I have that set, and I think
that's a cool moment.
That's it's like, ooh, yes, that's it right there. Like nothing tops that. Like where you're actually in the moment and you're saying they recreated this level.
Yeah.
I also think just the build itself is really fun, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed that build a lot. It aesthetically, looking at the Covenant AA turret, it just looks good, but also I mean it can pivot up and down. It has 360-degree motion. I mean,
they did a good job on the cannon itself, but I feel like
the base lets it down.
Everything below it's custom, right?
So we're all kind of digging Saber. So that's our 1 of 12. I'd like to petition.
Well, I feel
Saber,
like we should do a reverse. Let's talk about like what we think maybe could be kicked off. Right?
Okay.
Because we're at 10. We're at 12 already, so maybe we can trim fairly easily and then start to shuffle them around.
Because we only need to lose 2.
Outland Skirmish.
I was going to say, if we're thinking about the sets, that's great because, reach figures, but that's not a set at all. That's just 20 figures.
It's got a stand, right?
But that's got that
and
cool
like some little
barrier.
Nice, like printed pieces.
It's not, and that doesn't beat any of the other ones for me. It doesn't even have even the attack on sword base. That's even got like a little base piece and crates at least.
Oh wait, which one are you attacking?
It's just Outland Skirmish.
Oh, okay. I thought you were attacking sword base. I'm like, but that barrier's awesome.
Yeah, sword base is
but
sick. That's what I'm saying is that Outland Skirmish just does. I mean, it is literally just a figure pack. Even Outland Skirmish or Sword Base has like terrain pieces that make it a little more useful.
But are you ready for me to counter you here?
Oh, here we go.
So I want Outland Skirmish gone anyway, so that's fine. But I also think Sword Base should be the one that goes because I think they should both go. I should clarify. They should both go.
Okay.
Because Sword Base, the build in it, when you go and look in game, the barrier it's trying to recreate is so much bigger than the thing that's included in the set.
This is true.
Like the thing in the set is tiny in comparison. It could have easily been a couple of Reach army troopers to make it more massable, or Spartans in black Oni colours to tie into the Oni sword base theme.
Tom, why do you do this? Make me want sets that don't exist.
It's what I'm good at, Matt. Instead, they give you a couple of multiplayer coloured Spartans, which are mediocre.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing, the line afterwards, so the Infinite line, they introduced the new Jackal body piece, but instead of waiting to use that for the skirmishers, they just used the Elite torso.
Yeah, it may not have been ready, but I feel like it's hard to ding them on that.
No, they did not. They used a Marine torso for the skirmishers. They didn't use the Elite ones. I wanted them to use the Elite ones because then they'd be hunched over, but instead they stand straight up like people.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna agree with Tom. I say those two go.
Yeah,
What's going on this episode?
I'm thinking about this comparatively to everything else that we've picked. I don't think either of those two sets, for me personally, beat anything else that we have.
Yeah, I think I was gonna pick the sword base, but I think compared to everything else, it's just the Reach set line is so strong. With just sets like Falcon, Revenant, the vehicles, they're just so strong that I think it's very clear. Now it's just going to kind of be which one ebbs out another, and that's where.
And I think that's a good argument because that's what we're talking about is the set, right? If it was best figure packs or something like that, that's a different argument.
Yeah,
and it's hard for the figures.
Yeah,
it's hard for the figure packs for the smaller.
I think
offerings to compete with this bigger stuff, right? Just based off of what you get.
Yeah, I think Tom's point about the barrier is also really good. It's a small barrier and it doesn't capture what the game is trying to do. Because like in game, especially when you're kind of coming up that corridor, that little like turnaround ramp, it's big, it's massive. So I mean,
they're
it's
like
it's
huge
nice
pieces that are blocking off the courtyard.
Yeah.
Not
Like, for
something that's just the size of a Spartan.
Yeah.
for what it is that they included, it's super cool. But when you
Yeah.
start to think about what it actually is in the game, you're like,
Yeah.
where's
I
the
got
rest
it
of
right
it?
behind me. It's
The
pretty
skirmishers
tiny.
look cool, and if you want a couple extra Spartans, it's like what, $15 or something like that. It's a decent value, right?
Yeah.
If
I
like you're
see
coming
them.
to the game late like me, and you want some skirmishers, grab this. But
Mhm.
to your guys' point, it's hard to compete with the other stuff we're
Yeah.
including. So I'm fine with that. So I think if
Okay.
Outland skirmish, I'm not going to necessarily fight for it. But if you guys are comfortable with that being
Yeah, I'll
out,
take
then
that.
we're at our 10, I think, already.
We're at our 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, we just needed the 2.
Okay.
All right, so what's
do we
the
want to
wor-
do? Sorry, so we have our 10. Do we want to do any other callouts? Like the drop
Let
pods
me
are
take
kind of
a
worth
look.
just mentioning.
I
Like
would-
the drop pods are kind of
Ooh.
cool, right? I know we're not
Look,
going
I
to
have
have a
a-
list.
I have a couple
cool.
mentions. For one, both variants of the Gun-Goose and the Mongoose with Emil and
Yeah.
Noble 6, those sets are
Oh,
sick. I
shoot.
love those sets. But again, comparing it to like something like a Falcon, a Gun-Goose, a Falcon, I'm probably going to pick the Falcon. I would get the Gun-Goose because of Noble 6, not
The
because
Emil-
of a small
the Emil
little
one's
Gun-Goose.
Hold on,
Gabe.
you've destroyed my world. I totally forgot about that Emil mongoose. That set is straight fire.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
Yes, it
nothing
is.
beats that mongoose.
There's a bigger issue. The Gungoose is a Halo 5 set.
It's
Or
a Halo
2
4 is when
anniversary.
it was introduced.
Yeah.
But
Halo 2
the
anniversary.
Emil
Halo
mongoose is the Reach mongoose.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like spot on design wise.
that was like peak of the Mongoose design.
Yeah,
Dang
that
it,
So
Mongoose
Gabe.
those are a
did
couple
great.
that I wanted to shout out because I personally think those are super cool.
Oh man, why didn't I think about that set earlier?
But
does it
I mean, it's a
ebb-
cool set, but and so I feel like we keep defaulting to like the biggest set is the best set. Like, is there a world where a little mongoose competes with like
Okay.
these bigger sets?
I-
there
Depends
kind
on
of
what you're
should be,
looking for.
right?
The-
But
the-
maybe-
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if that mongoose is better than EVA's Last Stand.
Mm.
I love that mongoose, and
I
I love
would-
Emil's
It's a
my
lot
boy,
more
man.
massable.
I would say if I had to choose between EVA's Last Stand and the Mongoose,
I'd buy the Mongoose because
I'd
you get
probably
Emil.
get the Mongoose
Yeah.
because Mongoose really, for one, the design of that Mongoose is flawless. I freaking love that Mongoose design. You get Emil, full articulation, removable armor Emil. The EVA's Last Stand is cool, super unique. It's got the base plates and all that, but like,
Wait, before we throw out EVAs, is there any?
So we're going back?
Yeah, I got
Oh,
to
shoot!
save my
That's the
boy.
rules. Gabe, you're
gotta-
in charge.
Yeah, well, I'll allow it.
Okay.
I'll allow
I
it. I'll
yeah,
add
you
it
know
right
what?
now.
You know what? I'm dropping EVAs. I got to get my boy Emil on this. That
Okay.
that mongoose.
Okay.
That mongoose
I can't believe I
top
missed
notch.
it. Where is that mongoose at? Right here.
That was one of the earlier sets that I got when I started collecting, and that mongoose, it's definitely sat on display because
Look at that.
It's so beautiful.
Here we go.
That UNSC print right there.
Yeah, it's
It's
good.
Yes.
It's a beefy mongoose too.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the infinite track design, but I
Oh
kind of
yeah,
But that's fine. I mean, they just introduced that.
I bet.
Do you have
I
the
bet
infinite
could,
one to compare it to? Within
I
Mongoose?
bet you could
hold on.
kit bash an infinite mongoose and take the pieces from the Reach mongoose and
Hold on,
make
guys.
it
Hold on.
that way.
Probably.
I bet you can make it work.
Oh yeah, work it into the build.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My Reach Mongoose is sunburnt.
Oh, is that right next to the
Scout.
scarab?
I got my.
Yeah, because in my old conservatory display, it was the mongoose reconning the scarab.
Man, you're really you're dark. Your image is dark, so I can't see you very well. I don't
Oh,
know if you
shoot.
brighten up the room.
Hold on,
Anyway.
let me turn a light to me then. Hold on one sec.
To quote Halo Infinite, Matt, you need to set a fire.
Matt just literally
Colin,
embodied
I saw the cringe in your face there.
Bravo 6 going dark.
Is that
There,
better?
you're brighter. Yes. You're
I'm
bright.
brighter.
Yeah.
There you go.
You're not as bright as I am. Apparently, I'm bright. But that's
Oh
good.
yeah. I can't believe I forgot my boy Emil.
Okay, so
I know.
we're including.
All
it,
right.
huh? Okay.
So there we go.
Oh,
We've made
you
an
wanted
amendment.
You wanted the. Oh, there we go. All
I wanted the
documents
comparison.
deserve to be amended.
Side by side.
Amended.
You gotta raise it up. Can't see it.
Oh, sorry.
You raise me up so I...
Copyright!
So the hood is similar, but the back is...
Yeah.
Yeah, back is where
See,
it completely...
This is why I like this Mongoose. I like the suspension, but this one's my favorite.
Yeah.
I think it has a heftier feel to it. So yeah, I can't believe it, man.
Okay. I'm
Wow.
Let's do it.
Wild.
You heard it here first on Builds with Blocks.
All right, so I'm gonna amend my statement. The Rocket Hog is not the best set that you.
Oh gosh!
Here we go.
I'm kidding.
gosh.
I'm kidding.
Okay, so
it's a good set. It's
we've-
not that good.
We've talked about we want Rocket Hog versus AA turret. We're all fans of that.
Towards
Mongoose.
the top.
Yeah. Mongoose is in there now. I personally, from my choices, gotta go with Countdown.
I
Just
second you.
in the same way that Rocket Hog versus AA turret is like when you're playing through Reach and you get to that section, you're like, dude, I'm in it, and that whole set captures the whole image of that perfectly. The Saber. Long Night of Solace, that whole walking through those doors and looking at the Saber sitting up in the gantry before you take off, flying through like 2/3 of that whole mission. That's iconic Reach gameplay. Like every time I look at that set, and it gives you this whole wide, I guess display piece. You know, like the gantry for the Saber, and it's got this nice little comms tower. It's got the stairs. It comes with a surplus of figures.
Yeah.
I think the whole set
that, like,
really is
the wrenches and like all the whatever.
It's got like a little
tools.
weapons crate.
Cool.
Yeah.
I always kind of like the Saber I always kind of thought of it as the like forerunner to the broadsword.
Yeah, for
you know
sure.
what I mean?
you're
Like technology advanced so that they had
and
these ships on demand.
Even more, you can take off all of the fuel tanks. You can take off all the thrusters and all that, and just have the Saber.
Yeah.
I never got
Like
that.
there's so much customizability and playability in that set. I mean, you could take it up and.
Was it a community build? Like someone built it and then
It was
community
submitted it?
choice.
Or
it was
choice?
community choice for 2010 or something
Okay.
like that.
It over Valhalla, I think.
How
Over
did that-
Spirit and over
Why
Valhalla.
have we brought this up?
How did that go down? Did they just say? Did they describe it, or did they show you a prototype?
They
and
showed
say-
the prototype.
Yeah.
It was all built in gray brick.
Gotcha.
And
It
then you
was
just voted.
this Valhalla or a Bumblebee, I think.
Can
I
we
think
get that
it was those
prototype
three.
Valhalla set though? Like, is that still on the table?
I'm about to cry because I have
Yeah.
that image like
Can we like?
burned into my
But
brain.
yeah, I mean-
it looked so good.
To me, Saber,
Yeah.
the Countdown set, that is a legendary set.
Yep.
Okay, so
Yeah.
there's no denying that these two are top two sets.
Let's put those up to the top. Yeah.
What do
Yeah.
we consider out of this list as the worst? I feel like
Oh.
it works better if we work bottom up.
Colin, can you remind
Yeah,
me of your
yeah.
three?
I just pick all the worst ones. Is what you're saying?
I mean,
All of those. All three of those. Are the
Colin,
worst.
you already
We already
lost
cut one of mine. I'm down to two. So containment, outpost, patrol, and then I also picked the Revenant, which Revenant's pretty good.
Revenant's got to be up
no,
top.
I agree.
Gotta be
I
up top.
think containment outpost patrol should be up at the top as well.
You do? Okay, I like this.
Yes, because it's one of the only structures that they did in the more realistic military dark green that the Falcon was in,
the old gun on
alongside
top.
the firebase and a couple of other structures.
Mm-hmm.
And I always liked how that felt like its own self-contained structure. So a lot of things, like say for example firebase, while it works, it feels like you'd need more to really get it looking proper because it's kind of just a gate and two corners. Whereas with that set, it kind of feels like its own little self-created AA turret.
Yeah.
And the turret build on that as well was really nice with the way it like elevates as well.
Yep. Go ahead.
I don't like the Cyclops. Don't know why there's a random Cyclops in a Halo Reach set.
This is
About
Cyclopsism.
infection.
Yeah,
That makes
Gabe,
no
your-
sense at all.
Your
Because
bias against Cyclops is very disturbing.
What's wrong with
Well,
having
okay,
one
but
eye,
okay, ignore my bias. Literally think of it. Why is there a Halo Wars vehicle in a Halo Reach
Okay.
infection multiplayer set?
I'm joking with you, but I'm not a fan of the Cyclops either.
I don't
Gabe,
understand
why is
the
there an
whole.
elite
I think
commando
that- I think the
from Halo
Outpost-
3
So
in
I look at the
Seraph?
set more as it's kind of like the builder's box, like the new builder's
Yeah,
box.
yeah.
It gives you a bunch of pieces, and it does like they give you a structure that does make sense to Tom's
Yeah.
point. But then, so if this came out when I was collecting, I would have gotten a bunch of them because I love the structural pieces, those gray tall pieces, whatever you call
I'm
those.
a structure guy, you know that.
Yeah, so like you could get like 3 or 4 of those, and you could build some cool stuff with that.
Oh yeah.
And you'd have multiple turrets then, and then the figures are okay. And then again, I like the quirky little Cyclops myself. Even
I
though,
think the Cyclops is like an addition to the set. It's like the bubble shield of the Revenant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what deserves to be at the bottom though? But I'm like,
if I had to choose out of all of the things that we have left, for me it's the Outpost Patrol. I just don't.
Gabe, what did
excluding the Cyclops, whether I like that or not, the set itself, I mean, it's cool. It's cool. It's got terrain pieces. Print. It's got. I mean, it's neat.
You like you like the goose up ahead of that? Like, where does the goose fall on this list?
I think the goose is quite high as well because it's just spot on to the source.
But everything
material.
can't be high. Like, I feel like where's the Falcon? Is the Falcon high?
Yeah.
It's
is the Spade high?
See, this is the
everything is number one.
This is the problem with Reach. Is this like I'm telling you, the sets are
Reach is good, man.
Strong.
The top sets are good. Sure.
Yeah. So like, I mean, like
I
like the Mongoose, and I think it beats out EVA. Like if I had kept EVA, I would have kept EVA at the bottom. Oh. So I'm gonna say you drop the Mongoose at the bottom. Emil's on the top 10. I'm happy with that.
Okay.
You know what?
It's a
I
mongoose,
was just thinking though. The drone outbreak. What a random one-off. Really, the only iconic part of that set is just George. Like, cool, you got drones, you got George, but like the truck is such a it's in a mission that you probably don't drive it because you already have a Warthog. Like, it's such a random.
It's a good build though.
Oh, it's a great build.
It's a cool little thing. So the only thing I think is that it has 6 wheels, and so I think
Halo Forward onto Dawn is only in one set. That doesn't discount it just because it's in one mission.
Right. Yeah, the Mammoth is in one mission.
I can't wait for the day where I never have to hear complaining about the Forward onto Dawn. Oh.
I'm not getting it because I forgot I put it away in storage.
Did you pack it up?
Really
it's
doesn't
gone.
help my point.
I don't have the truck, but I think the truck is.
It's a game accurate. Like, it looks good. I feel like it's in
Halo
3 too.
I always see people saying we want civilian figures or civilian sets. I think the truck, as for what it is cool to that part. Like the people that just want extra things. I just personally
so
I got it for George.
Truck or
I don't really.
I think the Mongoose.
I'd pick Mongoose over truck.
I'd pick the truck.
Okay.
So I would pick the truck.
I'm going to go with the truck.
Because I think it's so unique compared to anything else. And I think it's all about thinking about where it slots into the overall play pattern as well, right? So if you've got something like, say, for example, Sword Base, not Sword Base, the Saber Gantry. I'm really going all in on my point here to defend it. If you've got the Saber Gantry, then you can get the Rocket Hog to defend it. But where's your logistics vehicle to ferry the pilots to the Saber?
It adds to your playset.
This type of in-depth thinking is why Tom's savage. It's you got to figure out how you're getting your pilots there. Like me, I'm just they'll walk.
One of the reasons I sought it out is I thought the truck was cool, but it also had the 2 drones, and I wanted drones in my army. There's what's the best way to get a drone now? I mean, there's blind bag figures, but
blind packs. They had the set that came with the ODSTs. They were in the fire.
The ODST one's kind of rare, though. I feel like that's the secondary market now.
The best set would be the Halo 3 Marines that came with the 2 drones.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
I say the drones design is very underrated in the community. I think Mega did an extremely amazing job.
No, they did a
with
great
those
job.
designs.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a lot bigger than I thought.
They are big.
They are big in the game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I say Mongoose 10, Truck 9.
Truck 9. Okay, we'll work our way up. That's fine. Yeah. Let's start with that. We can shift.
I can live.
So then Containment Outpost is right above that.
I'd say 8.
Yeah, I'd say that at 7. Yeah.
8.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Actually, no. I would say the Spade is 7.
Whoa, wait,
Yeah,
we
let's
forgot
talk
the
about the
spade.
spade.
Hold on, spade. Put the spade at 10. Put the spade at 10.
Let's talk about the
What?
spade.
No,
Defend
no.
the spade.
Yes,
Negative.
yes.
Defend the
No,
spade.
sir.
Yes.
So
No,
Gabe,
sir.
sorry, you
No,
were
sir.
saying that the truck is like a civilian vehicle and it's not
Yeah.
that cool.
Yeah.
How are you going to defend the
No, no,
farmers?
no. It's not
literally
cool because
called
it's a
a
civilian.
spade.
Because it's a civilian vehicle. It's just not that cool to me because you don't use it. I would not go out of my way to drive a random truck,
But you
mail
would a
truck,
spade.
in the campaign. The spade is the first vehicle that you can drive. You're introduced to in the very first level of Halo Reach. You don't get a warthog, you get a spade. And actually, a spade's faster than a warthog. And with George on the back,
Okay.
it's a warthog.
The mongoose is better than that safari vehicle. That's
Don't
just how it
agree.
is.
So,
Do you know
but
what?
talk about
I
the build
agree
because
at all.
that's my
The,
issue.
the,
And
the
again, I
build,
haven't
the
built
build
it
is
from-
very.
I haven't built it from the ground up yet. I've only built I've seen half of it. And I'm like, where's
My-
that damn piece?
the-
Oh, it's right there. And then that thing always pops off,
The only
the bumper, the front bumper, and then I mean,
I was
It's
choking. Sorry. The only problem I
pressure.
have with the spade is the back. There's like a
it's just
Yeah.
the armor crate in the
The
back.
little-
With
the
like
little-
the L pieces.
no the back bumper. I mean,
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
what I
held
meant,
on
yeah.
by 2 studs, and literally like a strong gust of wind could blow that off. Like it's just, it's no point in it
well,
being
they
there.
put that
but-
weak bumper so that if the spade just slid a little bit and tapped you, the bumper would fall off before it killed you.
Gotcha. Okay. You would just get like a scrape on the foot.
Yeah, you're just
You'd
like,
be
oh,
fine.
the bumper. Oh yeah.
I will say
That was also the first time we ever
actually-
saw a skirmisher.
Yeah, one of
yeah,
those
it
guys.
was.
Yeah, true.
I really like the build of the spade. There is something about it. I like how it's got like its own unique hubcaps compared to other
True.
things.
True, that's
I think
a nice
they're
part.
a really cool piece. And I like how they actually took the time out to include the foldable mirrors on the side as well, so you can
Yeah, the
fold
mirrors
them
are
in
cool.
if you want.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it captures the vehicle perfectly, and again for me when it comes to like civilian stuff, I really want more of it. So I would absolutely love to like maybe get some.
Well,
of
they
the...
made 3 spades, so it
Yeah.
must have been good.
Yeah. I've got 2 of them. I would like to get like some of the cars from ODST eventually, for example.
Ah,
but
yeah.
I think that when it comes to the other sets, just looking at it from a broad fan perspective as well, you're much more likely to buy more of a set like the Mongoose, which is more recognizable, than you are the Spade. So I think it's a good set. I just don't think
Yeah,
it
I'm
compares to the other stuff in the list.
look. Everybody knows Emil is way better than George. He actually makes it to the end of the game.
What, just to get stabbed through the heart?
Hey man, he took out some zealot elites.
George blew up a
They
super
took him
carrier.
George couldn't figure out how to work a timer.
George couldn't figure out how to
Love
what?
this.
Work a timer.
Work a timer.
Look, plus George
Emil,
isn't
the
even
knife master, got stabbed through the chest.
Okay,
Hey,
you do
there-
realize you're the host. You can just say, Matt, we're moving on.
Hold on. There is a
Well, no, I wanna let him- I mean, I'm not gonna cut him off.
sick poetic way that everybody from Reach
Yeah,
dies.
like, big guy dies from the explosion, Carter goes down with the ship.
No, yeah.
Emil gets
Demolition
stabbed in the
expert
heart.
blows up. Guy with the
Yeah.
knife gets stabbed. Lady with the brains gets her brains blown out.
And June
Noble
doesn't die.
6 dies a lone wolf.
A lone wolf, and Carter dies with the ship. Captain
Yeah,
goes down
yeah,
with the
So
ship.
did they try too hard with that? I mean, clearly that's what they were going for, but did they try too hard with
No,
those
I think
guys?
it's pretty
No, I
awesome.
think
You like
it's
it?
perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, I just don't like.
I think there
just
should
don't
have been
like-
more deaths.
So, okay, so, jeez, good lord. So back to, so back to this whole spade thing. Would
Yeah.
you take spade over the truck or the truck over the spade?
Truck.
What? What is so interesting to you about this truck?
It's
'Cause you
I
can
like the
just
military.
get inside of
Okay,
it.
I like the military.
You can get
colors.
inside of the spade!
I like the
Well,
military.
but it's got a little
colors with
door you can open, and
it.
you
The military colors of the truck. It feels more in
Yeah.
line with an actual
Military.
military, whereas the spade is like, what is it? A farming vehicle, or is it like a transport vehicle?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so-
like
It's
a
a
Okay.
farming vehicle, yeah.
Okay, so military truck over farming vehicle.
If I wanted a cool farming vehicle,
bland
I'd go
truck
to
that
Mega
shows
Bloks
up in
is
one
John
mission,
Deere.
I mean,
or the
I can
spade
s-
that's the first thing you drive. I don't know.
I can see how it's a change up from the Warthog. Like, there's value in that, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I personally just don't like the design the way it looks.
Yeah,
I do want to.
Go
I
ahead,
was
Tom.
going to point out with the truck as well, I feel like they put a lot of work into the aesthetics of it, because it's even got the details on the back of a little ladder that goes up to the top of the cab.
Yeah, that's
And
cool.
then there's like the military grating across the windscreen. It like folds down, but you can fold it
Yeah, that's cool.
back up
That's
almost
true.
like a riot
That was a
cover.
cooler
The one
build.
thing that's a little odd is the turret like doesn't actually fit in the back. You kind of have to like squeeze it in there. Like they show that. Don't they show that in the art? But anyway.
Yeah.
I also think the spade. There's nowhere to mount the gun, isn't there? There's like you can't.
There is.
There is a way to mount the
There
gun.
is.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But all right. I say
Because
we
you
take.
if you take a little peg, you just put the gun right there, and then George can
Okay.
hold on to it.
Okay, so I say spade's number 10.
You say well.
I think the mongoose is better than the spade. I think
I'd
Emil
say
is.
spade
I think.
number 10 as well.
I would
Ooh,
say
Tom, you're my best friend.
say
I mean,
two.
I'm gonna lose just because there's 3 of you and 1 of me, but I don't agree with you all at all, and I'm very
but
unhappy.
you
with
are
that
the
decision.
host, so you can decide.
Well. This.
Well,
is,
no, I'm not gonna overrule everybody. If that's what you guys want, we can put it, but I don't agree with you guys at all.
This
let's
is the
keep
great builds with blocks schism.
let's keep
Okay,
working
so
our way
why
out.
don't you
Spade on the
leave that
bottom.
there,
I
and
have
then
a
you can
list here
trade
right
that
now.
in there.
So spade
yeah,
on the
let me-
bottom.
here.
I have mongoose 9, drone outbreak 8, and then I have containment outpost 7, and
Yep.
then we got 6 juicy ones that we still need to talk about. Well, some of them we have, but like we've got flood siege, we've got the Seraph, the Revenant, and the Falcon. We haven't talked about those yet. Like where do
I'm
those
gonna
fall in
say.
the middle?
I'm gonna say flood siege 6.
I could agree.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the order I would put them in. the
Below,
way
so
you've done it.
siege is below the Seraph,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so Gabe, you thought highly of it, of the
Yeah.
flood
So,
siege.
so all right. So
It's got the Mac cannon, which is cool. It's got the little
One-
environment. It's cool.
let's
Should've
see if
come
we
with a
agree.
meal.
So 1 is AA versus Rocket Hog. 2 is Saber.
Yeah.
3. What are we? I would
Falcon.
honestly, out of our choices, I'd probably say Falcon.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
What
Hold
about
on.
the Revenant
before-
though? Why is the
All right. Hold on.
Yeah.
I'll get to that.
Okay.
The Falcon, it would
Yeah.
have been great. It could have been great. We need to make the
Ah,
Falcon
yeah,
great
yeah,
again.
yeah.
But the problem with the Falcon is that it cannot sit anyone in the internal chamber, which
This is true.
it's maddening. I spent hours trying to adjust it, just a peg up, because that's all you would have needed. But if you do that, you literally
Your background's
destroy the
messed
whole integrity.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
just pull
Oh,
apart?
it's so maddening. You could, okay, perhaps.
So like he can't even
Hold on.
if he's leaning back.
No. So basically, what you have to do is you got to put the Spartan in like at a slant, so they look like they're sitting on one of those long sofas. And they're like, so that is a huge drawback. But other than that, this set
Even
is
worse, you can't
beautiful.
even use superposable figures with that. There's no way they'd fit in the underside.
I
I don't even
just
know if
a
they
quick
fit in the
little
cockpit.
a quick little modification that I did because I was obsessed with being able to hold the entire noble team on the Falcon.
Yeah.
If you take, this is a Lego piece, but you can find Mega Bloks. You take a piece like this, and you have a 2-piece, and you just kind of lock it up in there, and then the guy can put it. You can have someone holding this piece, and they can sit right at the end of this part right
okay.
here.
Oh,
Just something,
cool.
just a little,
You might have to
just a little.
take some pictures of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That sounds cool.
just actually. So okay, so obviously you couldn't seat anybody in these seats. So you have 2 guys on the guns. You put 2 guys here, and then you just throw the other 2 in the middle and hope they stay in
Right.
there.
Yeah.
But
So we don't think Falcon for 3?
Oh,
okay,
I still think
well,
it's free.
let's talk about the Revenant. Like that thing's pretty rad. Like it's got
It's
good
a sexy-
color. It's got a little, turret that pops out of the back, or a little cannon.
I
whatever you wanna call
personally,
it's got
I
a bubble
personally would-
shield.
I would choose. Well, see now because I'm thinking about how you can't even put figures inside the Falcon, just on the guns and the cockpit. I mean, Revenant is a good set. They've made how many? 2? Just 2,
that.
right?
2, right? Yeah. I was just
Yeah.
gonna look up the second one.
The
Well,
one comes with 5 white Spartans. And
I
then
got
the
mine
first
right
one is
here.
Oh,
I
do
got
you?
mine right here. I love the color.
Oh yeah, you literally. I thought maybe if I finangled at an angle, you would fit them in, but there's like a crossbeam that just completely stops it.
Yeah,
Right.
it's. Now that I've opened up that can of worms, I don't even want to look at that Falcon.
Yeah,
I
there's 2
think
Revenants.
Okay,
I-
I love the Falcon. Oh, but the Revenant's good.
It's
I
like a
would
sexy
put-
looking vehicle too. Like just
I'd
and
put
they
the
did a good
Seraph.
job of making it.
It's
look
like, what if the
in-game.
Covenant had a Lamborghini?
Yes. And the Covenant
um,
Revenant attack one specifically with the bubble shield, it's got like bullet holes that you put
Yep.
on it.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is cool. It's got a couple barriers. It's a cool set.
It's got
I would
these really
put-
nice little.
I'd put
Hover
the
pieces.
Seraph at 5, by the way. Like, I'd just put it at 5. I think it's cool. Like, it's exclusively Reach. It comes with a nice little stand. Like, it's a cool display piece. But I'd be cool with it at 5.
So you do like it above Flood Siege? Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
And I could go either way. So if you're comfortable with that, I have a Seraph. I haven't built it, but I got a
I
second
agree
hand
with
one,
that.
and it's cool. You know, it looks nice.
Yeah.
I agree with that. So
Is
And
it
you could
worth
do
tracking
a
down, would
space
you say?
battle, right? You could do your space battle with the Seraph. And
Yeah, Seraph
the,
versus Saber.
Saber, right? You could play
Yeah.
around with that.
that's
Which is
fun.
cool.
Yeah.
So
That'd
we
be cool.
we
I
coming
was
down
going to
to.
ask you from my standpoint, so I've never got this one because I used to really hate Covenant sets for some reason. I know I question it now, but I was a very
They were the bad guys.
Confused
uneducated
little boy.
youth. Yeah.
They were the bad guys.
I still am nowadays, but
Protagonist
is
only.
is it the kind of set that you would recommend going and getting on the aftermarket?
The Seraph?
Yeah.
That's a hard question to answer. It depends if you like Covenant, if you are doing that or another one. I mean, like, would I go all the way out of my way just to get a Seraph? I mean, probably not, I guess.
I like the design, but I don't personally own a Seraph either. But what's the build quality like? Because in my opinion, it's always
Really
kind of looked
good.
a little. Oh, really good. Excellent.
No,
okay.
it's not flimsy at all. You'd think those 2 tail spikes
That's what I
were
was thinking,
actually
yeah.
wobbled a lot, but the whole build, all the inside construction makes it so that those don't bend hardly at all. And there's no, like,
Yeah.
little pieces that flake off.
I
It'd be
personally
like-
like the
really nice
design
set.
and like the way it looks, but it's also kind of generic alien too.
Yeah.
So I could see
Yeah.
it looking cool on a shelf, and that's not Mega's fault.
They
but,
painted it purple just
it
so it
looks
wasn't.
cool on a shelf, but no one. I think someone even that played Halo would be like, "What's that thing?" I mean,
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
very brief that you
Well,
fight
I
them,
mean-
and then...
yeah, and like I said, it's in the media, but it doesn't.
Well, yeah, but the Mac cannon looks like a big.
it doesn't
gun and
scream
all the
Halo
time.
as much as some of this other stuff, I guess. If that's a drawback, I would say it is.
I agree
feel
with
like-
Gabe. I say leave the Seraph at 4.
Yeah,
Or
I'd
5,
put Seraph
sorry.
at 5. Yeah.
5, yeah.
So
I
above
mean-
Siege, and so then we're down to.
We just
Falcon
need to
versus
figure
Revenant.
out. We just need to figure out Falcon versus Revenant.
would
Well, wait a
honestly
minute. We need to fight
keep
one
that
too,
free.
right? Because Countdown could be number 1. Like
No,
I feel like
No.
No.
No?
I mean, even I say that AA is number 1.
really.
Yeah.
The gantry.
You get a
it's
Warthog.
really
You get
nice
the big
build.
old thing, the AA turret. I mean, they both for me
Colin,
mean the same
I don't
thing.
think you understand. You get a Covenant crate. Those crates are awesome.
You get 2 of
3 of them.
3?
3 of them.
Boy.
Three of them.
Remember, I was going
I
to buy
always
that
used
one set
to-
because of the Banish crate.
I mean, they
always
mean.
used to-
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. I always used to like Countdown because of the gantry. 'cause
Yeah.
I'm
The-
very
Yeah,
much a
it's
scenery
super
guy.
cool.
But when I revisited it a few months back, and I had to get it out of storage, and it had all fallen apart anyway for the most part.
Yeah.
But it made me realize that it was always very minimalistic.
It's basic.
And there wasn't really much detail in it. And I get why, because obviously it came with the Saber.
Yeah.
But I just feel like if they're going to do structure, I would rather either that get the same level of attention or not do it at all. And I feel like looking back at it in retrospect, it's cool as like a scenery piece, but it just doesn't compare to the complete package that you get with the Rocket Hog versus anti-aircraft gun.
Now-
Well,
Where it feels like all elements got the same level of attention.
So
Now,
let's talk about playability though, because I did have that set out. That was one of the few sets I
Yeah.
let my my boys play with, and for a while, and then I was like, oh, they're gonna break it. I gotta put it away because they
Which
did
set was
break it.
this?
They broke that little piece that swivels, that little
the
bridge that
staircase.
swivels, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, okay, now I gotta put this away. But it's just one of the little pieces snapped, and then there's plenty of those around. But I think, to your point, it is simple, but it's the main part that's simple is everything, the gantry around the Saber or behind the Saber, which doesn't really need much detail anyway, right? But it does have the big platform below it, and then it does have the little office that you have, and it has some stairs and the swivel bridge. I feel like it's actually, there's actually more to play on it. It is bigger. There's more to play on it than, so if I were to give my sons the AA turret, or AA cannon, whatever it is, and then the gantry, I feel like they would probably gravitate more towards the gantry because there is more to do with it than this AA gun. Sure, the AA gun is cool to kind of like go up and down, and like you kind of have to two-hand it to use it.
So
from a playability standpoint, right?
Okay, so I'll challenge that playability standpoint.
Okay.
If you were given just one set, you're giving the Saber and then you're given the AA turret, and you only have that one set, the AA turret you can actually have a battle with, whereas the Saber you can probably just launch it, or you could have technicians working on it. That's about it.
You can't have a battle with an AA gun. The AA gun's shooting something out of the sky.
What do
And
you
you're
mean?
getting
It
a
can
rocket
turn
launch.
down.
It's not.
Yeah, like angle it down.
It's called an anti-air gun.
But
The
but
Warhol gets
the
there
game
all the time. Played Halo?
the game addresses that. The game, it doesn't shoot at you, but you still have to interact with it. You can remember, I've always said structures you can play in, on, and around are the supreme Mega Construct formula.
Yeah.
This
so and I could
turret-
see that being used as like, thinking about play. You could say, okay, we got to get to the AA gun. That's like the end game of whatever you're playing with, and then that's where the final battle happens.
Mission objective.
But you could do the same thing in the reverse with the countdown. If you're the Covenant, you need to get to the Saber.
But the set doesn't give you
But
Covenant.
you don't get any Covenant
You don't get any
figures.
Covenant with
That's
that
true.
set. You could have it where you could say Noble Team has to get to whatever figures you're giving have to get to the Saber to take off.
But you have to have something else already.
If you want to have a versus set, and I think having a Warthog that you can drive around, like the Warthog is such a playable vehicle. Like you can get in it, you can drive it around, and so I think having like
little
this
thing spins.
Exactly. I entertain myself for hours just spinning around. So if simple minds, guys. I think the turret. I think it adds a story element. I think it has I think Kevin talked about it. Is that every set can have a story, and I think nothing beats the idea of having. Because nothing feels so Halo than the Covenant are shooting at you. You have to stop them.
I think there would be a stronger story with the AA gun over the Saber, because the story with that would be that you're getting ready to fly away. But with the AA gun versus a Warthog, you've got the Warthog obviously trying to kill the alien purple big gun, and you get Covenant figures. You get UNSC.
The fact that they added the core detail is really cool. All the jewels or whatever, the little guys, little pegs. Back to the build. Can you guys at least agree that the base of this thing is a little frustrating because it's all custom pieces, right? Like those pieces are only in that set. They maybe, and probably because they wanted to keep it small, but they spent a lot of money on that. Like, where else would you use those pieces?
I don't
you
necessarily.
Would never use those pieces for anything else.
It is
right?
odd that they
I don't
haven't
necessarily.
reused.
I don't necessarily hate the custom build. I think the only thing I have a problem with is it's kind of cramped in there, so you really have to really work to get in there.
It'd be cool if it was bigger.
I like, in my opinion, it would have been awesome if you could have it like the walls open up so you could play in it. Yeah. Because with stop motion, when I did it, I was only able to really kind of get my hands in there and actually do stop motion from the outside of it. And you never really could feel like, oh, this, like I would show them walking in. I'd never actually show them in there because it was just too tight.
Yeah. Right.
And so I think that's a drawback. I also don't like the it's like a wall, there's a huge gap, and then there's the gun. Yeah. Like in the game, it would have been nice if they had included the stairs or like some kind of ramp.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to say something controversial.
Oh boy.
As a brick building fan,
I
don't actually have a problem with big pieces if they allow a company to achieve scale. So a really good example is my factory set I just got. 90% of that is big brick wall pieces with then the individual details built up. And if that was all individual details, it would be a fraction of the size, whereas with how it is now, it takes up 2/3 of the length of my display unit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I don't mind that at all.
I don't have an issue with it. I am, however, Colin, I'm feeling nice, so I'm going to give you some ammunition in your corner here.
Please do.
And remind everyone that Countdown was the only way to get a UNSC technician figure apart from the Forward Unto Dawn at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It was the only way to get the Halo Reach Marine with the 2 goggles in the accurate colours, because the only other version was the steel one that came in the AA gun. And it was also the very first time that we got a UNSC Sergeant, because the Halo 3 one wasn't out at this point.
But the AA turret comes with a Covenant crate. I'm telling you, man, that crate is savage.
That
Those
puts
crates
it
are
over the
savage.
top for you, huh?
Yeah.
It also, in terms of play again, did come with a tool rack with loads of different tools.
Yeah.
So not only do you have the takeoff, but you can also get the technician and the Marines to be doing maintenance work on the Saber and putting different elements on it.
Covenant
However,
crate.
I am going to counter the Saber.
What are you arguing with yourself?
Yep.
I am. It's 2 different Toms right here at it. I am going to say I never liked the fact that the Saber can only sit 1 figure when sitting 2 is such an important part of the game and actually getting up to the spaceship.
That's an interesting
Yep,
point.
that's a nail in the
That would have
coffin.
thrown the scale off. But...
Slightly disagree. I don't think
Oh, boy.
sitting 2 figures is that important. You don't see anybody until you get in and then until you get out. That's not important to
But
the game
Gabe,
at all.
Yeah.
You see 2 people get in the Saber.
Oh no!
Don't use my accent against me, boy.
I don't think that.
So
I don't know.
here's another thing.
That's
Just,
huge. That's huge for me.
here's the thing that
I
bothers
still
me
feel,
with, again, and it may not win this argument, but with the AA gun, I think it is cool and it's an important thing to have as part of your, Halo collection. But once again, so I bought multiple Saber. I bought 2 Sabers, both used. The first one wasn't complete, and I was kind of okay with that because I wanted another one anyway, just for the parts. Whereas I've gotten additional AA guns, and I don't want any more than one. Like, because all those parts, you can really only use those for the AA gun. I mean, you could probably modify it to do something else. But
I disagree.
From a set standpoint, like there's the gun, like it's a good build, but like everything else underneath it, it kind of has to be an AA gun.
I could use every piece in that AA gun to build something totally awesome.
What would you build? What?
You could build a structure, like
that's
a
With
Covenant.
those weird legs?
Yeah, I could build that Spire Tower that I always wanted.
We're getting a little too subjective because, like, Matt, you are a builder. You do stop motion stuff. Not everybody is capable of just looking at something and being like, "Oh yeah, I can use that." I don't think what the
we're all
parts
builders, 'cause
constitute.
we've all built it.
I don't think all the parts coming together is what constitutes whether or not the Saber is better or the AA gun is better. I still cast my vote for AA gun and Warthog because the you have an obvious UNSC side, you have an obvious Covenant side. Then you can also, the playability for the entire set, roll a little Warthog around, little thingy spins. I mean, it's basic fun. I'm trying to think not from me who's played the game, who knows how rare the set is, who knows about the build. I'm just trying to imagine a kid. Yeah. A kid can just sit there and just have silly, just drive a little car around. With the Saber, I myself, over the age of 14 plus, have broken the gantry too many times trying to do anything with it. Yeah. I honestly think it's really fragile. Mm-hmm. The Saber build is cool, and you can, like I said earlier, you can take off all the little fuel canisters and everything, but for what it is, I think it'd be better as a display piece, and that the AA gun and Warthog is better as a play set.
I have a question.
What's up?
Can you fit a 2.0 or a version 2 figure in the Saber cockpit?
Depends.
Does it fit the?
Really tight.
Has to be the right kind of armor.
Yeah, well, it won't fit with because I know the legs are a little thicker now with that added layer of armor.
That's like
Interesting.
with the shoulders, because
Yeah.
it slides down, it doesn't open. So in order for it to slide, you have to take the shoulder armor off.
So it can barely even fit a new figure, and it can't even fit
Yeah.
two.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna be controversial.
Like, I still
here.
think it's a bomb set. I just think the AA gun wins.
I personally think the Revenant and the Falcon are better than the Saber, but that's my personal
I
opinion.
don't agree with
I
that.
don't agree with that.
No.
See, but for me, the Saber is a cool set, but it never felt extremely Halo to me as a vehicle.
Yeah.
Because it kind of feels more like spaceship.
I can see. I mean, I can see that. That was my
Not
argument
like
for
the
Seraph.
the Falcon and the Revenant feel like some of the best military vehicles in Halo. And the
Yeah, I feel
Falcon
like
doesn't
I've made
always
a-
crash.
I feel like I've made a mistake criticizing my Saber too much. I feel like I've made a mistake.
Oh no! Oh
I
no!
mean,
It's a
if you
good
guys,
set, actually.
I understand that it's very, very popular with you guys, but
'Cause it is. I mean, it's just like it's the Saber. Like
Yeah.
back when it came out, the freaking community went nuts over that set.
I didn't, though.
I wish I had it.
I looked
I
at
don't.
it. I looked at it, and I
But-
thought the Saber was cool, but the rest of it never really grabbed me. Like the whole gantry thing to it just never really grabbed me. Like, so in my opinion, the gantry is kind of like the side stuff, like the bubble shield and the barriers. The set is the set, and so like if I look at the Revenant, and I guess this comes back to my stop motion. How I kind of gauge sets is like I can't really do much with the Saber because it's a space set, and doing space stop motion is difficult for me. But like the Revenant is a ground vehicle, the Falcon is a vehicle that lands on the ground and picks up troops. Like, so I kind of find more use for the other sets. The
Well,
Saber,
didn't you also say that you didn't play Reach until after Halo 4 came out?
yeah,
I think the reason I like the Saber so much is because I've known the Saber since the day Halo
As a
Reach
part of
released.
Reach,
Like
yeah.
I've been
It's
messing with
nostalgia.
the Saber for
No,
a lot.
it's
So I think
true,
maybe
but
that's factoring into me wanting it to be number 2.
yeah. But I just think the Falcon, despite its look, I think if we're gonna throw stones at the Falcon's seating arrangement, we also have to throw stones at the Saber's seating arrangement.
I was just
and
about to say,
realize
I mean,
that you
Falcon
can only
can't fit
one guy.
figures in it. Saber can't put 2 in the cockpit.
Yeah, so I think that they kind of negate each other. That seating isn't
Yeah.
optimal.
So what's your
yeah.
top 4 then, Matt?
My
Let me
top
hear this.
4
Yeah,
would
what would your
probably
top 4
be A turret, Falcon or Revenant. I still haven't decided, and then
Countdown. First countdown slide. We had
count-
Seraph 5.
count. I love my Mongoose, and I'd probably have the Mongoose there.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah, but I understand that it's a Mongoose, and it for me it's just it's a personal set. I mean, obviously I can say
Great
that
set.
the countdown is a better set, but like if I wanted to be like, oh, give me 4
No, I mean,
sets that I can only play
Mongoose
with, I'd
is
take the Mongoose
sick.
with the meal.
Tom, what's your top 4?
My top 4 is exactly as it's written. I think Rocket Hog versus Anti-Aircraft Gun, Countdown, then the Falcon, and then the Revenant. And I'm just sitting looking at the Falcon because I really like how this build just gets the shape spot on.
Yeah.
I think it's the thing that really spoke to me with the Halo Infinite Pelican when we did that review episode. It's the fact that the angles were so spot on. And if you look at that from like straight on, that is
Yeah.
a Falcon.
It looks
It's
good.
undeniably a Falcon.
Okay.
And also, like, looking at it, there's some printed elements which I didn't even realise were printed back in the day. Like, there's black elements printed inside the thrusters at the front. The engines on the back
Yeah.
up here, you definitely can't
I
see
think
that, but they're printed.
Even with the seating arrangement, and I think that's
Yeah,
probably
it's just-
why I despise the seating arrangement, is because it's such a good
Yeah,
set.
everything else is
Yeah.
so
It's
top
so
tier.
good, and I think it carries. I think it carries that seating arrangement into the end zone. So
And so so let's just talk about this a little more because it has the landing pad in
Landing
one
pad,
set,
yeah.
and then
Oh,
it
that's
has
yes.
and then there's the other set that has the flood carrier forms.
Carriers, yeah.
And then the other set is just the blue.
The blue team
one, right?
is just the Falcon, yeah.
Yeah. So like
I
the
wish I
variety
bought
is
the blue one.
pretty good, but again, like that is a frustrating element. Like that is
Okay.
definitely a drawback.
I'm gonna go Falcon over Revenant then. I love the Revenant; it's a good set, but I think the Falcon is it's the Falcon, man. I mean, it's like the Pelican. It's like the Pelican and the Warthog for CE, the Falcon and the Warthog for Reach.
I think about how much time you spend with these in the game as well.
Oh yeah, like 4 or 5 missions.
Every mission you're getting in and out of Falcon.
Yep.
And it
Not to
feels
mention
like...
the mission you're actually in a Falcon.
In a Falcon.
New Alexandria.
Right.
New Alexandria. Yeah, we get to drive Buck around.
My list picks would probably be the same as Tom. And I like the Revenant. Revenant's super cool.
Okay.
I find myself when I think about the Revenant, though, I'm thinking about, it's the first set with a bubble shield, and it came with, like, I think of everything that, besides the Revenant, and I think about the Revenant, I'm like, okay, I mean, the Revenant's cool.
See, I'm the exact opposite with that.
I mean, it's...
The bubble shield's cool, but I think it's like an additional awesomeness to what the Revenant
is.
is.
Yeah.
Like, I'd say the Revenant is probably my favorite Covenant vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
That's cool. Above the Wraith.
Yeah. Because I think it's like the Wraith and the Ghost had a baby, and that baby was kick-ass.
Yep. Okay. So, I mean, I don't think I'm going to win my argument for Countdown number 1. Probably I'd put that up above, personally. But I think we're doing pretty good on this list then.
Yeah.
So what?
So,
anything else? Yeah, I'll read it off, and then anybody else that has a problem, let's talk it out. But I think we're almost there.
Read it out.
I'll go number 10. Number 10, we got that Spade versus Skirmisher. Number 9, we got the Mongoose. 8 is Covenant Drone Outbreak. 7, Containment Outpost Patrol. I love how you guys agreed to keep that up there. 6 is Flood Siege. It's got 2 Flood sets. 5, Covenant Seraph. 4, Revenant. 3, Falcon. 2, Countdown. And number 1, Rocket Hog versus Anti-Air Gun.
This is the way.
Can I say something really morbid?
Please.
Imagine how bad a flood outbreak would be on Reach, given how many people the Covenant obliterated.
Yeah, that would be rough.
Well, they glass most of the world, so they wouldn't be that bad.
I'm entirely
Glass
fine.
Zombies, boy.
I'm entirely fine with the list from like 6 and forward. I still am very unhappy about where the Spade is at.
You want to fight that out a little bit more?
Get out,
no,
boy.
I mean, what'd you say? Pretty? Huh? What?
Come
I
get me.
mean, I don't.
Cross the pond, I dare you.
Cross the
Swim it.
Do it.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. If I'm gonna say anything in defense of the Spade, it's an I wouldn't say it's iconic Reach vehicle, but it certainly carries a presence with Reach more than the truck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would argue.
I like the variety of that truck set, though. It's got good variety.
That I would rather have the Spade than the Containment Outpost Patrol. So I would put that underneath the Spade.
Oh, let's move on. We're good.
Wait.
he said, let's move on.
You think Containment Outpost is worse than the Spade?
Yes.
Nah, you
honestly,
sell me on that.
There is the argument that is it really as encapsulating as...
I do not want to
Halo
rip this
Reach
list
as the
apart
Spade
again.
is.
We finally got somewhere where it's making a little bit of sense.
Do you know what?
I
Yeah,
don't
let's
wanna tear
leave it.
apart.
Let's leave it as it
I
is.
don't want to tear this apart all over again. I'll suck it up.
Are we looking it in?
I'll just say that I think the Outpost is a structure. I like structures. I think it's, like Colin said, it provides a buildable platform or prototype so that you can build whatever the hell you want. So
right.
You can say that we have discovered a lot this episode.
And
there is an Outpost. Outpost Discovery confirmed.
Doesn't the truck set come with a small structure? Like
yes.
a little
like a
thing?
little...
It does come with a structure, too.
Yeah.
Because you got to prop up the drones on it.
Right.
And you got the
It's-
billboard.
That
with
makes
the
it a little
golden
better.
hog on it.
It's
Makes it a
something
little
you
better.
drive the truck through.
Right.
Smash
Yeah.
it into it. Yeah, and it's got a little garbage
All right.
can, too.
We lock
Gentlemen,
in
we
this
have
list.
a top 10.
All right.
Cool. This
All right,
feels like the
there we
first
go.
time we've properly agreed on one.
No,
Well,
Colin doesn't
eh,
agree with.
I'm choosing to suck it up, but I mean, whatever.
I think we
Call it
all
what you want.
are, but it's a collective list, so we all have to make concessions.
Actually, I'm kind of happy where everything is. I mean, I'd put Countdown a little
Yeah.
lower, but I think I'm actually pretty genuinely okay with it.
Yeah, same.
And I think
So
a lot of
Gabe,
our
happy with your
lists
first
are
hosting
usually
gig.
like the biggest down to the smallest, which I don't think necessarily we did here. You know, so like Revenant
Yeah.
is higher than a couple things that are bigger than it.
I mean, Mongoose is ahead of a freaking spade. So.
Right, exactly.
A four-wheeler beat a truck and George, and all right.
But George is dead, and so's the truck.
You want to
Well,
join
so's
them, Tom?
Emil on that mongoose. But look, George is awesome, but Emil's the guy.
The big man was sentimental.
He actually made it. He made it to the end of the game.
So if Emil didn't have the carving of the skull in his face, would it be as cool?
Oh, I love the EVA.
Yeah,
I love
EVA
these.
on my
Oof.
boy.
Either way.
I love those canisters, EVA. I love the color scheme, especially with the Halo
Canisters are
Heroes
cool.
EVA. Halo Heroes EVA. That nothing beats it. EVA is the man. Emil's the man.
All right.
I like him.
All right.
Okay, cool.
I feel
If we're done, I'm gonna go to sleep now.
All right, well, that will do it for the show. Thank you all for joining us on another episode of Builds with Blocks. If you like the show, feel free to show your support on the Podcast Evolved Patreon. Until next time, evolved.
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 All right. I'm going to read the intro now.
Put some pizzazz behind it. Jazz
Welcome
hands.
to Builds with... I'm gonna...
Punch something.
Okay, here we go.